Years ago, they still had so much money to suck out of the system, and it wasn't perfect model that time because there was so much room to grow to make more money out of us in the system. So right now that they sucked, and as you say, everything out of us, and I truly believe, this is my view, they want to get rid of all the people that are high IQ or the people don't question too much. I think they want to eliminate older big time, and they want to grow the new generation that's going to completely surrender. The grooming is currently happening in our country in almost every sector.
Hey friends, welcome back. Thanks for being here. It's Sunday night, and silver on the Asian markets, well, I expect absolute fireworks. Keep your eye on the decline of our currency, the dollar, and the rise of precious metals. It's telling us all something very, very important. That was Nesa from Nesa's Hemp, a friend of the show, and a lovely woman who survived communism and who has a warning for Americans, not only about the attack against your health, but the very attack against our way of life. Nesa believes we are all being groomed for the communist ways that are now rolling out. I know it's hard to identify for most people, but listen to this one, listen with an open heart, and you too may come to agree. We're in a lot of trouble, folks. The Bolsheviks are here. Before we start this gripping interview with a real patriot, Nesa P., just a quick word about a valued sponsor. So we've talked about red light therapy, but what if I told you that this little device could also help heal inflammation and speed up recovery at the cellular level? This is the blue light LED terahertz therapy device from Medcare. It uses a precise frequency of light energy to reorganize cellular water structure. The idea being that when your cell's internal water becomes chaotic, nutrient flow, toxin removal, and protein folding all break down, which leads to inflammation and pain. This device works deep inside your body, up to 30 centimeters deep, to reach joints, muscles, and tissues. It's like bringing clinic-grade healing right to your living room without creams or pills. In many users, pain relief begins during the very first session, and over 2 to 3 weeks, people see deeper results, less stiffness, more mobility, even improved skin tone as collagen production is triggered. In clinical tests, 89% reported a 70% pain reduction in 8 weeks. You can use it safely every single day on multiple parts of your body, joints, back, knees, even face for anti-aging benefits. It's non-invasive, works naturally with your body, and it's risk-free. They offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're ready to move, feel, and look better from the inside out, check out trymedcare.com/SGT to get your exclusive discount of 50% off only through this unique link. Hey friends, welcome back. Thanks so much for being here. God bless each and every one of you for finding us on BitChute, Rumble, SGT Report, thephaser.com, wherever you have. Thank you for tuning in. May God continue to bless you and yours in these tumultuous times. I'm absolutely thrilled to bring back to the show Inesa P. She was last on the show December 7th, 2025, and around that time, silver was probably, I'd have to go back and check, what, 50? 55? It just hit $101 today, folks. That one was called She Won't Bend the Knee Like Tim Pool, and she can't be bought. The slide itself says the Bolsheviks can't buy her, and that is true because, ladies and gentlemen, the Bolsheviks are here. And stay tuned. I promise you a very good show as we talk about the through lines, the parallels between what we're now going through in this nation and communism, because my friend Inesa P. grew up in Lithuania under the weight of communism. Inesa, welcome back. How are you, dear?
It's amazing to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's terrific to have you. Thank you so much for coming back. And before we get to the weighty stuff, the meat of the conversation, I do want to show your website, which is a fantastic resource for anybody suffering from chronic pain. If you can't sleep at night, got to tell you guys, certified organic CBDa is the way to go. And I think just to kick things off so we don't bury the lead, Inesa, Do you want to just address briefly for the audience the 7 health benefits of CBDA? There may be more than that. I got to tell you, I take this product and it has helped relieve some of my knee pain as I circle the wagons after years of running, having destroyed my cartilage in my knees, Inesa. Anyway, thank you. Welcome to the show. Where would you like to start?
Since you mentioned about 7 health benefits, first of all, I want to say that especially in the Christian, because I'm a Christian myself, so in a Christian environments are most people are very confused about CBD, and I totally understand because I was against cannabis my whole life, and I'm still actually against the cannabis, probably going to be for the rest of my life. But there's a huge difference between the CBD and CBDA, and we can talk about this a little bit later. But the benefits, it's not 7. I mean, what the world's not telling the people, it's the endocannabinoid system that regulates tens of thousands of health benefits. And at that point, there's a lot of confusion going on. So, talking about main benefits, I would say it's what people are really experiencing the stress relief, anxiety, gut health, brain health. Anybody uses for all kinds of emergency use. So, the benefits truly are incredibly, the list is so long. I can't, we're not gonna have enough of the show. But the biggest miscommunication, and we can talk about that later, it's not the CBD. And everybody is sick and tired. Everybody told me how much they tried CBDs out there, and everybody's saying, oh my gosh, it's cannabis, which is, you're right. You're absolutely right. The industry is very dirty, and I can't wait to expose. Looks like it's going to happen this year. I have some exciting things going on, but we have to really differentiate what is the cannabis, what is the CBD, and what is the CBD. Those all three completely different things, and the benefits and the health benefits are also different.
You know, I find something interesting regarding any conversation surrounding hemp that I want to share with the audience because we all know that we toil under Rockefeller medicine, right? Petrochemical medicine just over the last 150 years. I want to point out that when it comes to hemp and healthy products derived from hemp, like CBDA, organic CBDA, I want to remind people that the father of yellow journalism in newspapers was Randolph Hearst. And guess what he did? He banned hemp and hemp production because he owned the forests and he wanted his newspapers to be made out of tree pulp, paper, not hemp, which is a far more easily renewable resource and it has so many health benefits. So having this conversation is really key to where we're going to as we talk about RFK's war on big corporate food, trying to make America healthy again, because hemp has so many benefits. No wonder the New World Order banned it more than 100 years ago. Nessa?
Yeah, and they introduced us with this fake stuff that's on the market right now, and they also criminalized this topic in the first place. And when the world finally woke up and says, "Oh, we want to know about this," and they introduced us with this very fake concept of the hemp, the one that he had for thousands of years. I mean, that's not a problem in the Nesa's hemp situation because we are following tens of thousands of years science and what's been in the history for us, but it's definitely a problem for the in a massive scale and especially for regular consumers because most people have no idea the difference and they all think this is one and the same. And of course they removed it, and they removed it for multiple reasons. One and the biggest reason is, in my opinion, and they criminalized because they didn't control just the one thing. They until today, these families and generations control the whole pharmaceutical side. And today we know that if you have a strong endocannabinoid system, right? Uh, you're not gonna just get sick, but even if you're gonna get sick, you're gonna be able to fight your disease better. So it's like the most essential thing in a human body. So when the mother is breastfeeding the baby, the first thing she does through that breast milk, but in order to even develop actually immune system, she helps through the indigenous cannabinoids in mother's breast milk. She first feeds the baby's endocannabinoid system, which is tens of thousands health benefits. Like this is like your essential system that protects you from disease. If you have a disease, helps you to fight disease. I mean, and you name it. And if we have society right now with strong endocannabinoid systems, that means if you're sick, you're going to start finding your disease better, and you're probably going to walk away from your doctor. And if you're not sick, you're going to prevent yourself from getting disease. That means you never go and visit the doctor in the first place. So to criminalize this idea was probably one of the biggest things they ever wanted to do, because they understood the secret of the endocannabinoid system. And that's why they gave us this fake plant, fake agenda right now. And Christians are still terrified to touch the cannabis. And when they tried the CBD products, they said it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work, because this is not a real plant you're really putting in your mouth.
Yeah. Now, just to be clear, this is non-psychoactive. There is no cannabis in this product, correct?
No, there's it's so the way industry works, anything within hemp or can or high THC or no THC, psychoactive, not psychoactive, any kind of type of cannabinoid or anything comes from in that family, it's named under cannabis industry, like
Sure.
cannabis in a cannabis category. But that doesn't mean your product is gonna have specifically the psychoactive, which is THC. And I'm personally against THC. I don't believe it's good for us. And most people, as I said, the biggest delusion is going on right now in our country, and I fight it so hard every day for this. Everybody think this is just another CBD. They taking people only for like a pain or anxiety or arthritis or sleep better or better skin or gut issues. No, it's way more than that. And thank goodness, President Trump, for the first time in the last 50 or 100 years, we got exposed. And President Trump posted on his True Social that endocannabinoid system is such a thing in a human body. And he forgot to mention one thing that is actually the most essential thing in a human body. And he forgot to mention that our doctors should know about this. But at least it's the first step. We acknowledged a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. If the average medical doctor in medical Rockefeller Medical School, regardless of what school that is, it could be Yale, Harvard, I don't even care, it could be the University of Wisconsin, Madison, they don't get any training in nutrition. I think less than a day in a 4 8 year curriculum. No training on nutrition or health, really. So you know they're not learning about the endocannabinoid system. I can assure folks of that. Now, what I want to do, we're going to circle back to this too, because there's something very unique about this product. Using a QR code, you can discover exactly what is in your batch of the world's first living full spectrum certified organic CBDa extract. But what I want to do is I want to ask Nesa this. I'm going to play a brief clip from Jared Kushner in just 1 second, but let me cue it up this way. Having grown up under the weight of communism in Lithuania, Inesa, I'm very concerned about the assassinations we've seen in this country over the years, over the decades. And it's a very slippery slope into the abyss of absolute tyranny, isn't it? Because they blew off JFK's head in 1963. Then they killed his beloved brother, RFK. Then they killed Martin Luther King. Then they killed Malcolm X. They've killed 9/11 whistleblowers. They've murdered big pharma whistleblowers like Brandy Vaughn. And most recently, Charlie Kirk. They literally assassinated Charlie Kirk in broad daylight. All roads seem to point directly to the military and other nation states' military. And meanwhile, we have Jared Kushner over at the World Economic Forum talking about the Board of Peace and their big plans for Gaza. Listen to this just for a second.
So we did a master plan. We brought in, I think, Yakir Gabay, who's one of the most successful real estate developers and brilliant people I know. He's volunteered to do this, not for profit, really because of his heart. He wants to do this.
Yep, it's just because of his heart he wants to do this. Let me jump ahead to 105. Does anybody bump on that? Does anybody bump on that? Christian Zionists, do you bump on this? This is a land bathed in blood. And as Candace Owens has said, and I will continue to repeat her, if you go there to take part in this, if you bring your family there to vacation, you will be cursed, your children will be cursed, and your children's children will be cursed. And I want to add to this that Jared Kushner and his business partner just did an interview where the business partner let the cat out of the bag. The plans for this were hatched long before October 7th. Nesa, the slippery slope into a Bolshevik type of situation in this country, I think we're well past the beginning. What do you make of this stage of the empire in the United States, given all that you've lived through and all you're seeing now?
First of all, it's I literally about probably 3, 4 days ago, and maybe if you're gonna go on my Facebook while I'm talking, posted something to this matter. I was 4 years old, and I literally just posted a little bit how the war happened and how we got freedom from Russia in 1991, right? So it's there on my socials, just posted recently, and I actually made a comment. As I said, you can take a look if it's public. I think it's public. So, first of all, I'm not saying I know everything, but I definitely seen not just how I've been part of the war, and I seen what the communism done to my family, and I seen what the country looked like, and I seen what my mom had to do to give us something better. And when I say better, I'm talking about orange, anything that's not abnormal. Like, I just don't understand how the grooming is currently happening in our country in almost every sector. The Charlie Kirk gets killed right in front of everyone's eyes on the camera, right? Then we have all these immigration officers or whatever these people are hired to do something there to chase the criminals or not criminals. Or I know personally people that got deported that been paying taxes for last 20 years, never submitted a single crime. They've been stopped in the trucks, pulled, and just sent it back home. And now the families are separated, and those are like so. And I'm not saying the criminals not getting deported. I'm sure they do too. But what I'm trying to cross the point here is what just you shared with me. This is cancer already. This is it. Like at that point, we are absolutely cooked. Done. But the problem is what nobody sees it. There's so much happening because I've seen it since I was born. I mean, and when I start having common sense, when my mom taught me things, and my family and the neighborhoods and my neighbors, I know what we had to fight for. So I seen the grooming. We're in it, and we're not somewhere in the bottom in the mountain. We're all the way up there. We're 75, 80% up there.
Mhm.
And where my thing here, which is I have this issue with America, not America itself. I love the country. I love the mission. I love how our citizens, and I'm an American citizen right now. If I need to fight for a country to choose if it's Lithuania or America, it would be America. I'm gonna do anything for this country. But where I'm having a hard time, how all of you are okay to do nothing about it. You're currently getting groomed in so many areas. It's just same as you get a headache for the last 5 years and 10 years, and you do nothing about it. And eventually you get diagnosed with brain cancer. When you get a brain cancer, for example, at that point it's kind of too late, unless you work with us and it's a different situation. But even that, you're probably not going to even know there's somebody is out there helping you because that information is fully removed. So most people are not aware the brain cancer can be, helped to be healed. So what I'm trying to say here is everybody's sitting here in the grooming process, and the list goes on, and nobody has a problem with that. We're about to get a cancer here, all of us. And it's at that point, it's too late.
Do you know what is so insane? I literally said this to my wife the other day. It feels like we are frogs in a boiling pot. They've turned up the heat over time to such a degree, so slowly that we're boiling alive and the average frog doesn't know it. I recognize it. You recognize it. And I want to say something about grooming. Pedophiles groom their victims. And I think that super uber gifted people like Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, and others are also groomed, sometimes unknowingly. I think Candace has woken up to a large degree. I don't think Charlie did. He might have right at the end when he recognized who he actually married. So those GATE programs, those schools for gifted kids, Charlie was in one. And it's starting to look like Charlie was literally the character played by Jim Carrey in The Truman Show. And this whole construct he found himself in, he began to wake up to at the very end. And that's when they shot him in cold blood in broad daylight. And the point I want to make about that is that was a choice. Assassinating Charlie Kirk in broad daylight for the whole world to see, shooting him in the throat, was a choice. Because it would have been far easier to blow up his plane or kill him in a car accident, and then you have total plausible deniability. Now we have all the video footage of these TPUSA bodyguards and security personnel doing very, very strange and shady stuff. All of the protocols, right, for this were broken that day. No ambulance, etc. You know, there's more holes in this story than, I don't know, holes in a sieve. So it's interesting that the assassination to murder him in broad daylight was a choice, but I think that choice backfired. Not that they care because we don't have rule of law, but it was a choice to do that. And it's a very diabolical choice, Inesa.
100%. And it's happening in every sector right now. It's the cooking frog slowly. It's funny you mentioned the grooming even happened unknowingly and not, oh my gosh, I can't speak it today anymore, when you're not aware of it. And I'm actually been groomed by someone myself who was pretending to be my best friend, very high level Mason. And I thought he was a best friend. Like he would just, I'm there for you. I'm just gonna support you. I'm gonna protect you. You know, like don't worry. I would share my I was literally in a grooming process and I didn't know until a lot of weird things started happening and he was already testing my skill sets. If I really took the information and apply it, what happened on the street. He was literally setting up the whole shit show to experience, like to see if she's listening, like how much coachable she needs to be. So that truly happens when you don't know. You think that's your best friend or like, you know, housekeeper's mother or something, or not mother, a lot of times it would be a gentleman. There's men and women too. So that happens literally all the time. It happened to me personally for 2 years, almost every single day. Okay. So with that being said, it's happening. And I believe it happened to Charlie personally myself. And I believe is Candace could be also affected by that? Probably, yeah. But where I'm still having a problem, then I get up in the morning, and it's not about me. I'm just sharing an example. Somebody came from Lithuania who was born and raised there, truly appreciates America, fights to blood and tears to get my citizen here. Okay, I blood and tears to get my citizen. Did everything right in this country, and to become so I can pay taxes. I can be legal here. I am doing everything I possibly can every single day. I wake up and I go to sleep to make sure I done my duties to stop the grooming process and wake up more people. But then even listeners today, like, are we all of us doing the same thing towards saving our country? And the ones especially are aware of that? Or is just few of us?
I think there's few of us. We need to make a change on a local level. And, you know, to that end, it starts with our health. If our families aren't healthy, we're toast. I mean, that might be a good bridge to talk about RFK and the war against big pharma and corporate food. Should we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I truly believe it's the foundation for all of us to fight or heal or to care for families. 100%.
100%. I won't play this clip because it's just easy to recap. RFK Jr. was on Bill Maher's HBO show recently, and he makes the case point, the study that the Pfizer vaccine, those who took it, the people who took it had a 23% higher death rate from all causes. That's a fact. And guess what? Albert Bourla walks free. Now, having said that, RFK Jr. notes having been called a liar by the genocidal maniac Anthony Fauci for saying that not one of the 72 childhood vaccines, the vaccines mandated for children, has ever been safety studied. RFK Jr. sued Fauci, and after a year of stonewalling, Fauci's lawyers admitted that RFK Jr. had been correct all along.
For many years, I was saying not one of the 72 vaccines mandated for children has ever been safety tested in pre-licensing placebo-controlled trials, not one. Tony Fauci was saying he's lying.
By the way, Albert Bourla walks free. Stefan Bancel over at Moderna walks free. Tony Fauci, a genocidal maniac who abused beagle puppies because he's just a demented psychopath, walks free. Meanwhile, Dr. Robert Young, who's accused of practicing medicine in California without a certificate for helping an elderly patient with natural medicine, is in prison. Tina Peters, who stood for election integrity in Colorado, is in prison. This is the slow boiling of the frog. And these people that I just described, Tony Fauci and the demons just like him, Inesa, they are the ones that have been gaslighting the people and boiling the frog alive. So take what you want from this administration. I personally continue to thank God that RFK Jr. is in there.
Yeah, I everything what used RFK's juniors talking about or trying to push is I'm 100% pro. And the reason I'm pro because I truly work hands-on with my medical staff, like helping people to heal, and the results we have, it's incredible, but that's not my point. And I want to share something where I'm so confused and I don't talk about this often. Maybe it's the time to talk about this today. What Junior RFK is talking about, it's absolutely life-saving for all of us. And I can talk about this in a minute more. But if he is related somehow with President Trump, I believe yes. And if the President Trump somehow is related with Jared Kushner, I believe yes. So my question is, where it's so mind-boggling to me, and I'm so confused, and they like that idea for us to be confused. I personally believe, while the one person is doing, this is just my opinion, okay? While the one person is doing absolutely a truth and amazing things for humanity when it comes to health and the food and restoring all of us, right? That's foundation to anything. The other person that's kind of connected the same circle is actually doing completely opposite. So this is where I'm losing my mind. And maybe you have some better understanding. I don't want to go back to, again to this politics thing, but I'm just saying this is my note here. And maybe you have something to say, but I'm very confused.
I do. Well, first, let's be clear. So it's good cop, bad cop.
We're gonna do good cop, bad cop. Okay? It's the oldest game in the book for a reason. It works. I come strong, then you come in. Alright? Yeah.
Yeah, it's in every movie. It's in any procedural crime drama. Good cop, bad cop. They get the bad guy or the perp or the suspect, and then they sit him in a room, and the good cop comes in to befriend him, open him up, make him feel like he's coddled, he's safe space. Just speak to us. We're your friend. Then he says a little too much. Then the bad cop comes in to drill down to the absolute guts of the truth because the perp has already exposed himself. So RFK Jr. in this case is the good cop. Who are you saying is the bad cop? Is it Trump specifically or somebody else in the admin, like Susie Wiles?
To be honest with you, I have no idea, but I'm getting more and more confused.
Yeah.
As much as I tried to figure it out, I wish I had an answer because I would know how to act better in my life. But I'm very confused. At this point I'm losing my mind. But there's 100% to the truth of a good cop and a bad cop. And I personally love what RFK is saying because I'm so resonated with that. Like I help people to heal from these things right here that are never tested by any medical system, and those are like, I'm not sharing full reports here but and people's names, but this is the stuff I'm talking about. For example, I'll take the lady who is, for example, super inflamed. Inflammation is not even a thing. She can't function, she can't speak, she has a slow capacity to speak, like she can't process thoughts very well, she has aches and pains all over her body. That woman specifically talking full of aflatoxin and all kinds of aflatoxins here, right? And those are the things are in the food, and molds and metals, thallium, barium, the glyphosate here. Look, this is crazy. This is where I love the most. Glyphosate. I know my screen is probably not showing it correctly. Glyphosate it's here, like, and it's thousands of things that are actually I see on these medical reports, and these tests, by the way, do not exist in your doctor office. Your doctor doesn't even know how to pronounce these guys right here. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say here is your doctor doesn't know how to save you. It's in your food, in your air, and especially in your water. The person that was actually grooming me, he said, Inesa, if you want to go after a country in a massive scale, what do you think what we would do? And I said, I don't know, just probably publish some news and say something on TV. It's like, no, we would target 3 sources. It's like, which ones would it be? He said, water, because everybody uses water. So we can pour whatever we want to pour, and people gonna, if they don't drink it, they're gonna absorb it through the skin. The second says, if you like this health nut, whatever, everybody eats lettuce. So we're gonna put something in the lettuce, right? And if you're like somebody like me who never eats pizza, and then rest of America, somehow, shape, and form eats pizza.
Yeah.
And like that's it. We got you covered. It's like I just need three sources. And whatever I want to do, like I can do. It's like, whoa, interesting. Is that what you do? I mean, that becomes personal now, but it's like, no, I don't do anything. I want to pick your mind. So, and that's all it started making sense to me. And I said, that's all what it is, right? They have a way to do that. And what RFK is saying, it is absolutely a blessing in the sky. But if this is really happening, or this is just another hook, because if that truly happens, we're gonna stop growing these mysterious things that are very real to me, but not real to the medical world, and nobody even tests for chronic, a root of the cause for chronic disease. And it's in your food, it's in your air, and it's in your water. And that's what the RFK is talking about. That's why I absolutely love this, because my heart resonates with. That's who I deal with every single day. That's what I see. And for me, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I know it is. Me too. And I love what you said there, a little Lithuanian accent coming out there. You said, I love what Junior RFK is talking about. I think that's great. RFK Junior, Junior RFK. And he's talking about cheap food and the cost of cheap food. And you say you don't eat pizza, right? You just said that?
Oh, never. Last time I ate pizza, only God knows was how long ago.
Okay, well, good on you. And I just think that people ought to go to X and type into the search bar Domino's Pizza ingredients. Check out the sauce, check out the cheese, and then I guess you can go down the rabbit hole from there regarding the pepperoni and everything else, guys. Honest to God, cheap food has a very big cost. Listen to this, and I'm not picking on Chick-fil-A. I've also heard that Popeyes, their chicken has so many ingredients in it that it's literally designed to become addictive. Do you remember when black folks were rioting because Popeyes was out of chicken sandwiches in the inner cities? That really happened. That really happened, guys. So what is in this food? Let me play this, and we're going to talk about the cost of cheap food.
This is why I never eat at Chick-fil-A. I ordered a spicy chicken deluxe and a small mac and cheese. There's really not much to this. Combined with both of these food items, they contain over 265 ingredients. No two foods should contain that many ingredients. What are the ingredients in here? I've never even heard of. It's called dimethylpolysiloxane. This is a food additive that is used as an anti-foaming agent from silicone. It's also found in industrial lubrication and cosmetics. There's also dough conditioners here, obviously in the bun, like datum and mono diglycerides, which come through oil processing using soy oil, hydrogenated oil, which are trans fats. These, of course, are all pro-inflammatory agents. This is not going to sit well on your digestive system.
It's not going to sit well in your digestive system if you can digest it at all. And I want to remind people that there are literally labs in this country and around the world that are food labs. They experiment to come up with this stuff. The chemicals, some of the chemicals in some of the food in this country, Inesa, I don't know if the audience realizes a lot of these chemicals are banned in other nations, but they're allowed here in this country. So that's the war that RFK Jr. is waging.
And that's what I find in these people here in their actual results. Those are root of the causes of these chemicals, and nobody looks for them. But when we test them, we see these people light up like a Christmas trees, and on these chemicals and it shows your immunity can't deal with that anymore. So at that point, even you have the best endocannabinoid system on the planet, your endocannabinoid system is gonna push you so far because your body has to deal with that enemy. And I feel like people, just like everything else, for some reason in America, for people, hard to see those things. I don't know what's going on and why. Maybe everybody's been groomed to be very comfortable and not visual.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing the people don't get it. And the easiest way to explain this, for example, glyphosate, like this woman, she's like, I don't know where the glyphosate came from. It's like, Okay, I said, you understand you've been taking that in a small amount that eventually became so chronic where the doctors can't explain what's wrong with you anymore. You can't even function a day in your life. So, so what I'm trying to say here is people think what a little thing is not going to change anything for me. Okay, just I'm going to tell you this. Purchase a big bottle of glyphosate, okay? And if you think it's not going to change anything, and drink it. Oh, I can't do that. That's gonna hurt me. That's the whole grooming I'm talking about on the health sector. It's grooming the body to get sick eventually because if everybody's gonna get sick immediately after drinking the whole bottle of glyphosate, which is gluten intolerant, by the way, that's where the gluten intolerant came from. Just being too much glyphosate in the body, then everybody's gonna die. We have no one to groom anymore, nobody to take taxes from, nobody to manipulate. You see, no, we can't make money out of this fight for the power, left or right or up and down, whatever these parties out there anymore. I don't even know. So what I'm trying to say here is the people, because they take it such a little at a time, they don't see it's a problem. But from the moment I tell them, get a full bottle, 3 gallons of glyphosate and drink it right now, they think it's dangerous.
Right. Well, let me just say that I think that they have gotten to the point in late stage empire where the powers that ought not be do feel as though they've extracted everything they can from us. So now they're doing an open looting, literally looting the states like Minnesota, looting the Treasury in Washington, D.C., $38.7 trillion in debt. They just approved another $1+ trillion spending package. As silver goes to 102, folks, we're having a monetary currency event. That's exactly what's happening right now. And it reminds me, Nesa, of the MAIDS program in Canada, where now they're rolling out government assisted suicide because they've extracted everything they can from the plebs. So now, when the plebs are miserable, broke, tired, diseased, with chronic fatigue, and they're just throwing in the towel, the government will help them kill themselves. So that's where we are in human history. And I'm sorry, I know there's other shows out there, and I love those guys. And we know X22, they always put a spin that everything is really kind of going our way. You can watch those shows. I like those guys. Sometimes I'll post their content at thephaser.com. I'm here to bring you the brass tacks truth as I see it. Okay, that is my calling. It's always been my calling, and it is what I will do. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but getting back to this idea of the price for cheap food, I don't know if Ness has ever seen this. This is sort of a deep dive callback to the cartoon Popeye. Now, Popeye had a friend named Wimpy, and Wimpy's deal was I would always gladly pay today. I would always gladly pay tomorrow for a hamburger today. Listen to this. Little comic levity before we hear from RFK Jr.
I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
I'd gladly pay Tuesday for a hamburger today. What is the price of that cheap hamburger? Here's RFK Jr. on the price of feeding our children cheap food.
The idea that a cheap meal made of processed food is cheap is an illusion, because you're paying for it on the back end. You're paying for it with diabetes, with obesity, with illness. And if you internalize that cost of the meal, it would be a tiny fraction of the long-term cost of eating bad food.
Nessa, I would gladly pay Tuesday for a Chick-fil-A sandwich today. I'll pass. That's a hard pass.
It is. It is 100%. But I see what you're saying. I actually watched that cartoon when I was younger, but I couldn't spend a lot of time watching cartoons because I had to really help my family and just be there as a mother. But I know this cartoon very well. I never seen this actually. As now I understand things better, you really intrigued me. Actually, I want to go look into more. I'm curious what else is in there that's kind of coded and
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
prepared for grooming, but it's part of the grooming, right? So
Yeah.
it's just where it starts and starts depositing the message slowly, maturely, and eventually executing. And you get just like people getting killed on camera. It's okay, right? And then people come getting out from your homes and somebody arrests them for because they're not legal here, but they pay like that's okay. Like we just keep showing how much is okay on every single sector. So
Yeah.
just part of the grooming, just
Well,
like that cartoon.
a frog boiling slowly in a pot. It does feel like there is a good cop, bad cop thing going on in Washington, D.C., because they know they wouldn't tolerate, we the people wouldn't tolerate just the bad cop. So thank God we have RFK Jr. playing the good cop, but I know his heart's in the right place. At least I believe it to be. Here's an update on MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, and then we're going to get Inesa's viewpoints on this.
This is the fulfillment of a promise that we made in the MAHA report. The MAHA report, which we released 2.5 months ago, has 120 recommendations for how to transition, how to eliminate the chronic disease epidemic and transition to a healthier America. And among those promises, among the recommendations of the report, was the promise to make it easier for farmers in this country, to give them an off-ramp. Farmers who are dependent on inputs, on chemical and fertilizer inputs, to give them an off-ramp where they can transition to a model that emphasizes soil health, and with soil health comes nutrient density. And without coercion, through voluntary action, to give them good incentives to do well by doing good for themselves, for our children, and for the country.
He says, we're fixing the food system from the ground up. Now, I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work when so many of these farmers are beholden to Monsanto and Roundup Ready seeds, and they've already contaminated their soil. They're going to have some work to do to get that soil back into a healthy state. And that's sort of the state of the state. And Inesa, I think we sort of just came full circle. Do you ever get the feeling, as you watch a good man like RFK Jr. say these things, do you ever get the feeling that the time to make these changes was a good 20 years ago when the country still had some wealth and people weren't so financially strapped? I mean, I know a lot of people are suffering really badly right now, struggling to pay their bills. A lot of people have to choose between paying their rent or their mortgage or buying clean food. Can't do both. It's getting pretty late stage empire to make this big switch. I pray to God it works. I pray to God it works, because the alternative is really dark.
It is a very late stage, but you made a really good point that it's funny how you're so similar. You said they didn't suck enough of you. So 20 years ago, they still had so much money to suck out of the system. And it wasn't perfect model that time because there was so much room to grow to make more money out of us in the system. So right now that they sucked, and as you say, everything out of us, and I truly believe, this is my view, they want to get rid of all the people that are not super, possibly, the hierarchy, like high IQ, or the people don't question too much. I think they want to eliminate older big time, and they want to grow the new generation that's going to completely surrender to these new AI robot systems and buildings and flying cars and things like that. And God's not going to be even be a thing, okay? Because look how the new generation coming, they're all attached to their phones and they're already plugged in into this new system. So of course they're gonna have very little left. So whatever the agenda is next, in my opinion, they want to keep the new ones healthier, right? So they kind of bringing this. They begged for this health. They begged for the better soil. They've been killed for. The doctors been murdered in the jails for speaking the truth on these topics, and now all of a sudden be getting this unfolded in front of us. So I truly believe only because the new system is coming in place, the new agenda is coming in place, and they want a little bit different breed kind of type of people, different animals. You know how you're breeding your dogs, one with another. I think they're looking for different breed for whatever the new agenda is and whatever who's making that agenda. So I think that's what's happening right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're breeding, and they've been doing this for a long time with the deliberate dumbing down of America. They've been breeding a slave class that is really incapable of critical thinking. And what they'd really like to do is engineer the fight out of us. Now, that hasn't happened yet, and they haven't got the guns. So that's the good news. But I do think we're living through late stage empire. And again, friends, why do I have these conversations with people like Inesa? Because I want to support the people that want to support you, your family, and your health. Period. Full stop. That's why we talk to people like Kim Bright. That's why we talk to people like, fill in the blank, my friend from Red Light Therapy, John Otto. Great guy. And I got to tell you, I got a lot more to say about red light therapy. I now have one of those panels, but not all CBD is created equal because there's a big difference, folks, between CBDA and CBD. CBDA is alive. CBD, you know what? You're the expert, Inesa. Take us through it. What should people know? Because I want people to support you because you're a truth teller, and I want people to stop supporting the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt and the big pharma sponsors he's got. Stop asking your doctor if Humira is right for you, folks.
No, first of all, this thing, especially the cannabinoids are absolutely essential to our system. Let's start from there. You can't live, especially when you're like 20, 30 and 40, when you're entering 40s, at that point, you must empower your endocannabinoid system because everything else will be a struggle in the body, including your mental health. So we need to recognize the fact that we truly need this. This is essential to us. The second fact is the CBD is 100%, even if you're gonna Google, it's a drug. It's a drug, it's pharmaceutical had an agenda.
But
It's
let's be
not
careful. I just want to make sure people heard that right. CBD is very different than CBDA. Again, say that again. Why?
because CBD is a patented a drug by Food and Drug Administration. As a drug for epilepsy, it's called Epidiolex. Okay, so that means it's not natural. It's we don't even know if it's really should be in the human body or not. So, and most people are aware of the drug, which is a CBD that belongs to the Food and Drug Administration. And the CBDA, it's exactly what God intended for all of us to empower this essential system so we never get sick, or if we get sick, it helps us to fight through that system, through thousands of mechanisms, right? Disease. So the CBDA it's the natural, organic, a real form of the plant. That's exactly what Nesa's hemp is about, that human body can't truly function without. And a CBD is a drug that is patented and controlled by Food and Drug Administration. So one is coming from the plant as a natural form, and one is coming from the plant and chemically changed it. The chemistry is not the same into something that it could patent, own it, and pretend this is mother nature. That's why a lot of people say CBD don't work. That's why a lot of people say this natural holistic medicine is actually gave me anxiety instead taking my anxiety away. It's because it's really not it is what it's supposed to be in the first place. And good luck, see the difference because nobody talks about that. So there's a huge difference, number one. And number two is there is no such thing and our products don't work. It's just people who's not willing to play with the dose. Because most people not willing to increase the dose or decrease the dose until they feel it. This product truly works 100%, doesn't matter who's taking it, doesn't matter how chronic you are, you have to see some kind of type of improvements. Doesn't matter what the issue is in your body. And if you don't think you're seeing the improvements, you clearly taking the wrong dose because scientifically, technically, any possible way, it's impossible for this thing not to work. It's just the wrong dose. So it's essential to our bodies, and that's why they criminalized it. And that's why it's very hard to bring this back on the surface. And the President Trump, as he mentioned about endocannabinoid system, he also mentioned, and it's funny, they just changed it now. I just saw it another day. It was crazy. So they said they're gonna change the law. And he announced this in the last month ago. He says we're gonna change the law. We're gonna be no longer Schedule 1. We're gonna be Schedule 3. And the CBD will be available for the seniors. By the way, I don't know why seniors, because everybody needs it, even if you're 16 years old. Who doesn't want to be healthy internally and protect yourselves from the disease? So even seniors, actually. And I'm like, why seniors and why Medicare? Because they want their compound, which is the chemically changed, not original, not what God wanted you to take, the synthetics, the drugs, which is the CBD. Since they patented, now they're pushing the Medicare. So what did I say 5 years ago? They're gonna push the insurance to pay for their drug, and it's gonna become controlled substance. That's literally just happened month and a half ago.
Hmm.
I've been saying this for 5 years. And now what I'm trying to say is, no, we should make this insurance covered and should be in every single grocery store. And it's not the CBD, it's the CBDA full plant extract because our body needs that. So it's a big push. I'm actually doing it this year, and I've been already talking to figure out how we're going to be testifying in front of the Congress. And I want everybody to know this. This is a big deal. Your body cannot survive to live on this earth without you empowering endocannabinoid system with the really good hemp plant. Not the CBD, not the THC, none of these government agendas or pharmaceutical agendas, let's put it that way. It's the original plant that God gave us for thousands of years. And that plant cannot be patented. That's why nobody's supposed to know about this.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting too. I want to say one last thing. Nessa, remember how when people were getting the shot, the bioweapon, I call it, masquerading as a vaccine, 2020, 2021, people started to wake up and go, oh my God, not me. I didn't take that damn stuff. Neither did my wife. But a lot of people were taking it, and then they were finding out that maybe there are some batches worse than other batches. Maybe there were some batches with placebo. Other batches were proven to be extremely deadly. The interesting thing about your product is everybody that orders can figure out exactly down to the T what ingredients and what is exactly in their batch. Do you want to just tell people how they do that?
Yes, and I want to share something from my heart because yesterday I had a call with a very powerful woman that actually talks with legislators and helps them to push the right laws. Not that they always listen to her, but at least she's been fighting for the last 30 years. Very well connected, a woman in the medical field and helping a good doctors to come on the surface, helping to legislators. So she's been very proactive for many years in the cannabis industry, and she's having the same problem as I am. So as of yesterday, she literally mentioned Inesa. I want to help. I'm not going to mention her name yet because she's coming officially on board, and I want to make sure I'm signing the NDAs first. She said, Inesa, I'm coming to help you because I never seen a single product or company on the market who does so much testing on each, not just a bottle, milli-ounce that goes on the market. It's the multi-testing process that's going on. She's like, you literally the first I ever faced in my career. And I said, that is a problem because everybody says what is in the product, but nobody shows it. And that's why I'm so proud of Nesa's because I worked blood and tears to get this one drop at a time to grow the plants correctly, which is a soil. Soil is a big deal. And I'm thinking it takes me forever to get to this point. So of course I want to show the world what's in my each bottle, and I have nothing to hide because I'm making this for people. So yes, our each bottle has a lot number. Even if you don't have a QR code, there's a lot number on the bottom. And if you search on our search box, that lot number literally gives you every single detail what's in this bottle. Like reports for your molds, for your bacteria, for the glyphosates, pesticides, herbicides, all kinds of chemicals, metals, I mean, you name it, the residuals, like everything is in it, plus the medicinal portfolio, which is terpenes,
Yeah,
all
but
kinds.
to be clear, the bad stuff you just mentioned is not in your product, and that report you just described will show people that.
100%. That's a big deal. That report is a big deal, not just to me, it's been in my heart, but even was a big deal for a woman who's been fighting for the same mission for in very high level for 30 years. She says, I
Yeah.
never seen anything like that.
Yeah. Well, you've dedicated your life to this fight for health as well. I want to show the site one last time. 100% rich in full cold preserved hemp extract with every healing compound nature intended, guaranteed organic, folks. The link is below. Use coupon code SGT for the very best available discount when you order. And I'd really ask you guys, support the guests that I have, the shining lights in the world, right? Inessa's one of them. Nessa, thank you. I always enjoy having our conversations. This is number 2. Perhaps we'll have a third sometime soon.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
All right. Godspeed. There she goes, folks. Inesa P. The link is below to Nessa's Hemp. And friends, I want to thank you so very much for tuning in. As always, I'll remind you guys, too, we try really hard over at SGT Report to bring you the real news 24/7, the antidote to corporate propaganda and Mockingbird, CIA, mainstream media lies. We do the best we can pushing that boulder up the hill, guys. Tell your friends and family. You can get it all for free, sgtreport.com. And until next time, may God, the loving creator, continue to bless you and your beautiful family. Bye-bye.
There is evidence, undeniable evidence, that there are nanotech, self-replicating, self-assembling nanotechnology, which crosses the blood-brain barrier. And Dr. Ida Bachelet describes these as being 50 nanometers in size, 2,000 times the width of a human hair. And these things can be programmed to do whatever they want them to do. And he teaches his students how to control these things once they're in a host.